I'm going to give you 5 tips on how to pass the road test in the first attempt and show you how thousands of my students have used these tips to pass theirs in the first attempt. So make sure you watch this video all the way through the end, because I'm also going to share with you a bonus tip. So tip number 1. Make sure to take notes whenever you go for a driving lesson. Take diligent notes. Hey, some of my very good students, they always took notes. They brought a notepad and a pen with them, or they would write down notes in their cell phones. See, you can only retain a certain amount of information during the driving lesson, during the 1 hour of the driving lesson. After the lesson is over, trust me, you're gonna forget 95% of what you had learned. And you don't want that to happen. Therefore, you want to write down all the information, all the things that you've learned during the lesson. Rather, write down what are the things that you need improvement on. Ask your instructor, what does he think about your skills on a scale of 1 to 10? Every single day, try to measure yourself. Write down in the notepad what is it that you need improvement on, and in the next lesson work on those things. Tell the instructor that, you know what, these are my weaknesses, I would like to focus on these weaknesses first and then move on to the next step. People who do this, trust me, they definitely pass the road test in their first attempt. So the second word is practice. Hey, I can't emphasize enough on this word, because this is the word that distinguishes between successful and unsuccessful people. And if you are one of those few people who has access to a car other than that of the driving instructors, then you must milk that opportunity. Get your relatives, friends, or siblings, whoever it is, to help you out with practice. Get some hands-on experience on that car before the road test. The more practice you get, the better it is. And practice, when it comes to driving, can be divided into 2 parts, which is mental and physical practice. So physical practice is what you get on the car actually, and mental practice is what I'm going to talk about in tip number 3. So stay tuned. So tip number 3 is, wait, you're already doing this. You're on the right track. Watch videos on driving as many as you can and as many times as you can. And hey, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, then make sure you hit the subscribe button. What are you waiting for? There's a lot of information I'm going to bring to this channel, and you don't want to miss out on that, because you want to pass the road test in the first attempt. So make sure you watch these videos. And this is what I call the mental practice. Hey, outside your driving hour, you need more practice. You want to see how driving is done. And this is where you get mental practice. You want to know how things work, how to do parallel parking. When you're prepared mentally, when you go out in the field, what I mean to say is, when you go out and sit behind the wheel and you drive the car, you are way ahead of the people who are not watching these videos. So you need practice, mental practice, and you want physical practice. So it's a combination of these 2 that helps you pass the road test in the first attempt. Tip number 4 is observe. Why I have to say this louder is because a lot of people do not do this. People just think that, all they can learn about driving is from their driving instructor. No, you can learn about driving from your friends or anyone you sit beside when they are driving. Hey, when I was trying to get my G2 license in Canada, I did not know about the rules in Canada, and honestly, I did not have the budget to spend on driving lessons, because I was fresh off the boat, I had a limited amount of money, and I had no job at that time. So what I used to do was, I used to go sit at an intersection and I would observe how people were turning, because left turns was one of the weaknesses of mine, and I needed to work on that. So I sat at the intersection and observed people, and trust me, that thing worked. Hey, observe other drivers. Whenever you get an opportunity to sit in the car, sit right beside the driver so that you can watch them driving. Hey, when you observe people, you learn 5 times more as compared to people who are just depending on driving lessons. So make sure you observe, and observe. So you're taking notes, watching videos, observing people, and practicing. What is the fifth thing that you need in order to pass the road test? Hey, you've already booked your road test and you know what location you're going to. I want you to be smart and find out what the route for that drive test center is. Or better off, ask your driving instructor if he knows what the route is. Go on Google and see how it looks like. What are the pointers that you need to keep in mind? When you know all these things beforehand, you feel more prepared and more confident to do the test. And you're less likely to make mistakes on the road test. So act smart and give yourself that winning edge. So now's the time for the bonus tip that I promised to you. Hey, you followed all the 5 tips and you feel completely confident and ready for the road test. Let's see if you're actually ready for the road test. What I mean to say is that, hey, you might think that you're ready and you might feel confident, but you could possibly make a mistake due to nervousness. How do you know whether your nerves are in control or not? And this is what you can ask your driving instructor to do. What you can tell your driving instructor to do is do a couple of mock tests. Mock test means practice test. What he's going to do is he's going to act as a real examiner and you're going to act as a person who's taking their test. So your instructor is going to act like an examiner. Some of my students wanted me to act like a mean examiner because they wanted to get over the nerves. So if you want that from your instructor, tell him to be mean to you so that, you know, the more mean he is, the better it is for you to get over the nervousness of the road test. So the instructor is going to act as an examiner. He's going to be quiet and he's only going to make notes. He's not going to tell you, hey, this is where you're wrong, this is where you're wrong. He's going to do the test for 15 to 20 minutes, just like a road test is done. And after the road test, he's going to tell you whether you pass the road test or you fail. Now that is what is going to tell you how ready you are. If you are okay with mock test, I would strongly recommend doing that with your instructor before you go for your driving test. So these are all the 6 tips that I wanted to share with you. I want you to pass the road test in the very first attempt. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video and leave a comment and tell me how you feel about your road test. If your road test is coming up, tell me how you feel about your road test. And if there is any tip I can share with you, I will reply to your comments and I'll try to help you out. Thank you very much once again for being a lovely audience. I'll see you again with another video.